me, I'm with political analyst, Professor Kotze. Prof, thank you so much for your time. Looking at the posture of the president when he was speaking, giving those opening address, you can see it's a man who has confidence about this national dialogue that is coming.
Yes, indeed so. I think, we were uncertain about how he's going to approach this speech. He started very relaxed, and then the way in which he tried to connect with the audience, I think he wanted to build some trust, and at the same time a sense of that he's not under pressure. So I think in that sense he most possibly did convince many that he doesn't want to be able to be in absolute control of it, and they made it very clear that this is not a government initiative, but it is something that must spread across South Africa. I think what he also did is, in order to inspire the South African population in general about what are the opportunities, what are the issues that are pertinent to this, but at the same time that the agenda is to a large extent open, and that it depends from the person, or all of us actually, of how we are going to use these opportunities. So I think in that sense he also addressed the criticisms of this. For example, the question about the budget was very much, I'm from UNISA, I think we are quite proud of the fact that this is here and the role that UNISA can play, as well as that of the foundations, which is possibly the more critical, the more touchy issue of them. But I think what he was saying is not criticizing them, but rather saying that, acknowledging to some extent some of their criticisms, but then emphasizing especially the fact that this is supposed to be a citizen-driven process and not driven by government. So included in this speech was actually quite a number of components that try to respond to the cynicism, to the criticism, or basically just the lack of, in some cases, enthusiasm with this event.
Another issue that he touched on, you also touched a bit on it, Prof, is participation of those credible leaders. We saw him saying that the PAC at some point refused to participate in a lot of events like this, and saying that, but now he's proud to say that they are part of this. I mean, that's a message on itself. I just want you to also touch on the issue that he keeps on emphasizing on, the issue when it says that this is not a new phenomenon in South Africa. It's a country that has dialogue. Just talk to us a bit more with regards to that.
Yes, I think when he talked about the missing parties, I guess it's a number of political parties that have now said that they won't be here. The DA is obviously the best known of them, the MK party, the EFF and others. So I think it's, in a sense, it was a message for them to say it's not the end, you are not excluded. And by using the example of the PAC, who are now today here, that it's never too late to start to participate. So that is by implication, I would say, an invitation for them to come back to this process. I think when it comes to the way forward for this, what he is in essence are saying is that yes, there will be a steering committee, that it will be sort of managed from a central part, but it is to a large extent it's going to be determined by the initiatives from a local level and from the different organizations. And I think it is important that he referred to so many different organizations, mainly civil society organizations that are here. And I think this is at least the objective now is that they should be the participants, the parties that should take a special role in leading the local processes.
In conclusion, Prof, the issue of participation keeps on coming up. They say that it's a bottom-up process, but we know we have a challenge when it comes to participation in the country, especially at grassroots level. Looking at wards, ward meetings, municipalities have challenges. Research has been done on that. Dismal failure. Do we believe that they will achieve the intended goal in terms of participation or not leaving anyone out of this process?
Well, that is the challenge, and I am slightly concerned too that there's so much emphasis on the idea of using wards, because I don't think wards will actually fulfill the expectations that have been set by this, because wards are, in a sense, given our spatial development, residential development, it will mean if there's a ward in, let's say, a township, then the people will talk to themselves. If there's a ward in one of in Waterkloof, close to us here, or in Sandton or so, the people will talk to themselves. While the crossover, I think, is what is necessary. So I think I've spoken with some of the persons of the Eminence group, mentioned that to them, and my impression is that they are not fixed on this idea, that they are still open for the concept that can be used in order to take it out, because that will be absolutely important. Take, for example, universities. They are ideally placed to bring people from different communities and other similar institutions to do that. And I think over time it's going to develop into that direction, because that's where the infrastructure is. There's where these type of things can be hosted much better than maybe at a ward level.
Thank you so much, Prof. That was political analyst Professor Kotze, just giving us perspective in terms of his reading of the President's opening address here at the first day of the National Convention, which is meant to deal with the modalities of the national dialogue that a lot of people are waiting for, with others still today questioning why it's happening, raising issues of, when we heard the President saying that, using these precise words, not under his watch, Mfundo, that they will spend 700 million, saying that not under his watch. Well, it remains to be seen how this process holistically will take place, especially at grassroots level, where you find people that face challenges with regards to service delivery, crime, where GBV takes place. In Mfundo, with that being said, it's back to you in studio.
Thank you very much there. Those are live visuals from Tshwane University of South Africa. My colleague Nhlanhla Khatlane in conversation with Professor Dork Kotze there, unpacking the President's address, officially opening the two-day convention. The President initially indicating that he has called for this first national convention in his capacity in line with Section 83 of the Constitution of South Africa, emphasizing his locus standi as president, which I suppose puts into context the extent to which government is and must be involved in the process, which is something that has been debated, where representatives of various interest groups throughout the weeks have felt it should be citizen-led in the true sense, at least according to them, so minimal participation from government. But essentially the President saying the dialogue is also about getting leaders to realize what worries South Africans, and that through this process, he says they want citizens to meet in homes, community halls, shop floors, and even online to forge a way forward for South Africa.